Hi guys, today I'm going to talk about English skills required to work abroad. Before I came to the UK, I've never really studied English abroad or not even in a language school in South Korea. I only learned English on my own. After my third year in the university, I did an internship in Singapore for half a year. But I worked for a Korean company in Singapore, so I didn't really have many opportunities to speak in English at that time. As a matter of fact, after I finished my undergraduate study, my only official English score was TOEIC, and it was only 830. It was not hugely impressive at all. You will be quite interested in what kind of proficiency you need to have to work abroad, especially in an English-speaking country. The truth is, there is no one answer on that question because based on your goal and which industry you are interested in, the requirements can vary a lot. For example, if you'd like to get a job in fashion industry for a role dealing with Korean customers, in that case your soft skill and job skills would be much more important than your English skills. Another example, as a software engineer in IT industry, surprisingly, reading and writing are not really required for your day-to-day job. As long as you can read and write email communication, that should be enough. On the other hand, listening and speaking skills would be quite essential to have, especially when it comes to speaking. You don't really need to worry about correct grammar in speaking, but more importantly, you should be able to speak up in a meeting about your ideas and opinions. In the end, probably the most important part of English to get a job abroad would be listening. Reading and writing, you can spend your own time to practice. You can correct yourself, you can search for dictionaries, but when it comes to listening, you can't really ask them repeat again and then again and then again. So it's quite important to at least catch the idea what they are talking about and following the context in the conversation and getting the requirements to get your job done. Speaking, as I mentioned earlier, you don't really need to worry about grammar. I work with a lot of international colleagues. What they say every day and what I say every day is not 100% grammatically correct. Just be yourself and speak up your voice. That's very important. Sometimes some of you guys ask me what TOEIC score should I have for getting a job abroad. So basically, TOEIC is not required at all. I know some of you guys sometimes put your English score on your CV. To be honest, it can be a bit awkward. So unless the job specifies some sort of English score is required for the role, it's not necessary to put the score on the CV. Let's look over some of the job descriptions, what they say about English. This is a website called Indeed, indeed.co.uk. Basically, it's just similar with 사람인, those kind of job advertisement websites. So let's type Korean here to look for what kind of job advertisement are having a keyword Korean. So let's find jobs. Okay, here, the first one. So if we check up this job description, Korean and English language skills, both written and verbal, are very essential for this role. So in this example, I guess you would require both Korean and English language skills. But it doesn't really mention what proficiency you would need to have for this role. Let's look for another role, graphic designer. Graphic designer is one of the jobs many Koreans can be sponsored in the UK. Here, if I search for English, this job description doesn't really mention any English level. Written, verbal. Okay, this one doesn't have anything about language skill. It mentions like soft skills, good communication, and interpersonal skills. So basically, in this case, I can imagine you would need to be engaged in teamwork and actively communicate with the colleagues. That would be quite important. Today, we talked about what kind of English proficiency you would need to have to get a job abroad. And again, there is no one answer for that question. You need to think about what kind of role or what kind of career you'd like to pursue. Start from there. Then, what kind of English skills you need to focus on. The answer would be naturally followed. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you liked it, please click the thumbs up button below and subscribe me for the next videos. See you soon then!